Hey guys, it's Wits. Typically I don't make build video, but a friend of the channel asked me if I made a build video for my mage, and I promised him I would show him what I have been using. The setup that I use, it's fire or ice, and also sometimes a hybrid, and I've used it to clear all the pestilence area. The only boss I have not cleared with this setup is the Crucible boss, Echo Knight. That's because I don't go to the Crucible very often because I'm still exploring a lot of areas in the game and still working on different weapons. But eventually I will get that guy. So I'm going to show you the setup that I have been using. So here we go. Now, for stats, you can distribute your points different ways. You can go 60 on intelligence and 30 on health, or you can just go 50-40 like I have it right here. But I always make sure that I have enough points in equip load. That way my equipment is not too heavy. As a mage, I want to be able to move very freely. And when it comes to focus, I put 15 points in there. You can put less or you can put more, whichever is going to be more beneficial for you. So my stats are just that. And for my weapons that I'm using, I love these three weapons in the game: the Molten Clutch, Endless Winter, and the Flame Becomes Us. And those two are very easy to get, but Flame Becomes Us is RNG, and I had a video on the channel that can show you how to get it if you're interested. For my Molten Clutch, you can see what I have on there. Fire Blast, Armageddon it comes with, but Fire Blast I added on there, and I put Fire Throw and also Fire Walk. So it doesn't really matter what you have on there, but I love Fire Blast, and it's a very good one, especially for little enemies and stuff like that. So it is very good. And for the gem, I put Lifesteal. And as far as the enchantments, it comes with those enchantments, and I re-rolled for the Indestructible. Those two, Indestructible and Unrepairable, kind of cancel each other out. So if you can get that on your Plague armor, then you should be good to go. In any case, so if we go down, you can see that I have a shield. So you can use the shield whenever you're using a one-hand weapon. And when you're using a two-handed weapon, you cannot use the shield. So that's what I'm using on the shield, and I put max health on there. But everything is going to be up to you what you want to put for your gem. And as far as the enchantments, you can see what I have on there. So I don't want to waste your time reading what I have on there, so I'm just showing you what I have. Now for the armor setup, when I have to go full hit damage, so this is the setup that I use. I make sure that I have hit damage on there for 15%, and for the body armor, I make sure that I have burn damage in there. And if you can exalt your gear, it's a lot better. You get more benefits from those. Now for the pants, I make sure that I have that movement speed on there, but the rest of it is really optional what you put on there. And also for the gloves, I make sure that I have burn buildup inside the enchantments, and Indestructible, Unrepairable. But those are not mandatory. You can also have parry disabled. That's a very good one if you're not going to parry. So that's also a good option. Now, when it comes to the rings, there are so many options, but I love the Thistle ring because you take damage and you deal damage back to the enemy. It is a very good one if you can have that. And for the other ring, I use the Jade ring just for the stamina. So if you don't have stamina, you cannot swing your weapon. So I make sure that I have that on there. But there are so many other options. And then this ring right here, I never take off as long as I'm using a focus-based build. I make sure this is always there because that gives you the biggest benefit when it comes to having your focus for you, so you can use the runes on your weapon. So that's the setup for the fire setup, and I'm going to show you what we use for the cold setup. Now for my cold setup, this is what I use. So if I want to go full ice build, and I use the Endless Winter most often, but I also use the Molten Clutch in combination. So I use the Molten Clutch to actually get focus back, and then I switch to the Endless Winter so I can freeze the enemy, just slap the hell out of him, and do some big damage with the runes, the Frost Stream, and also the Harming Frost. You know, the Frost Stream is the one that you can channel and keep freezing the enemies, and it is a very good one. Also, I put Breaker Thrust on there. It's one hit and can freeze big enemies very easily. It's a very powerful rune that I run also on my strength build. So this is very good because it's a two-handed weapon. You can put the Breaker Thrust on there so you can freeze enemy a lot faster. And I also put Last Steel on there, but as far as the enchantments, they are not the best, but that's what I have. It takes a lot of embers to try to reroll these things, so I leave it for what I have right now. Now, for the armor, the things I changed from the heat to cold, you can still make sure that you have some cold damage on there. So if you can exalt your armor, just make sure you do that. Now, I don't exalt this one because I still want to switch some of the enchantment on there. So, but for now, I make sure that I have cold damage on the helmet. And for the body armor, I have healing increase in the gem slot. And then I make sure that I have frozen enemy armor decreased by 50%. Simply because whenever you freeze enemy, they take less damage. So, but if you have this enchantment on there, it makes them take more damage. So just make sure if you're gonna go full cold damage build, then you just have this enchantment on there as much as possible. And for the pants, it's the same one that I use for my fire setup. Because of the movement speed, you can only have that on blue gear, so that's why I keep those on always. And for the gloves, I make sure that I put the frost buildup on the gem slot, and in the enchantment, I make sure I also have frost buildup increase. And this makes it a lot more potent when you're using your cold builds. As long as you get the frost buildup, it's easier to freeze the enemy. So and that's the setup that I use. And as far as the ring, again, you have options to use different rings, but those are the three that I use. And this is basically the setup that I use for my playtime whenever I play. And I don't have an issue. I clear the pestilence area every time they come around, just if I want to farm for gear. So that's what I use. For you, my friend, that was asking if I have a mage build, so that's the setup that I have been using. I know there are more knowledgeable people about build on YouTube, so you can check them out, but that's what I have. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one.